I grew up about 2 miles from our local high school. And as a kid, 8 years old, that loved football, I could feel the energy of football. I could feel the energy of people coming together and cheering. I could hear the pads cracking. I could hear the touchdowns and the celebration and the PA announcer. It was infectious. That energy, I loved it. I loved the thought of bringing a bunch of people together to celebrate something you worked so hard for, something you sacrificed for, to have that moment of being a little kid on a football field. And in that moment, I want to play this game as long as I could. That's what I wanted to do. That was the dream. That was the goal. You worked your whole life doing everything you possibly can to be the best football player you can be, the best man you can be, the best leader you can be. My senior year at the high school, I'm playing quarterback, got a D1 offer to go to Northern Illinois, get a group of guys together. We're about to go do something special. I roll my ankle in the state semifinal game and we fall short. Can't finish the game. The season's over, dream's over. You don't get that state championship, but still awarded that state player of the year. Get a lot of individual acknowledgments. You're excited. Get a late scholarship offer to the University of Wisconsin. I get to continue this journey. I get to continue and go on to the University of Wisconsin, do whatever it takes to try and make that field, to continue this path, to be a part of those teams, to sacrifice for one another, right? It brought meaning, it brought a sense of like commitment, something bigger than just myself. You're a part of a community that you can invest in and trust. At the University of Wisconsin, I got that offer as an athlete. Coach Chris called me up, he said, I love what you did at quarterback. You're also 6 feet tall. You're not gonna see over those 6'7" linemen. We're gonna need you to do something else. I said, that's cool, coach. Whatever it takes to be on the field. I just want to be a part of this thing. So we start over at linebacker. I'm doing my thing, playing scout team. All of a sudden, all the running backs get hurt. It's like, Alec, last year you ran for like 2,400 yards in high school. You think you could do that for us at the University of Wisconsin? Like, heck yeah, coach, put me on offense. Let's go. So I switch over to offense. I end up leading the team in rushing touchdowns that true freshman year. Burn the red shirt. Score 9 touchdowns, short yardage, dirty work, doing everything we can. Problem was we had like 3 NFL running backs, future NFL running backs, come back healthy that next year. No more spots for me, man. Hey, Alec, I think if you put on a little bit of weight, maybe you could go play fullback. Coach, I trust you. I'll do whatever it takes. Now I'm splitting time as a sophomore. All of a sudden my junior year comes up, turn 21, get a little excited. You're at the University of Wisconsin. I got lost in the sauce a little bit. Kind of lost that purpose. I lost that why. I lost that kid that was on his dad's shoulders peeking over that tree line. I forgot that purpose. I was scared. It's the first time in my life, an adverse situation. It was kind of self-imposed, but I wasn't as committed as I used to be. I wasn't doing everything the right way. I had to sit down. It's the first time I got benched, watching other people go chase their dreams, do what they love to do. Sitting there on their bench, I'm pissed. I'm blaming everybody, pointing at the coaches, pointing at teammates, pointing at teachers. And my answer was just to throw all these eggs in the football basket. So I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna go watch film, I'm gonna go to practice, I'm gonna do everything I possibly can. I'm skipping class, I'm doing everything right. The coach still, I'm not listening to him, pointing fingers there. I didn't wanna look in a mirror. And I realized why I was so afraid of a mirror. And then I started to realize my goals and my dreams, I need to overcome some of the bigger fears of my life. Not just chase it, not just do more, but also sacrifice that fear. Sacrifice what's holding me back. Sacrifice and let go of that baggage that's holding me from being the best version of myself. Why I'm afraid of mirrors, why I was doing self-sabotage, it's because I felt alone. Talked about it a little bit, I am adopted. There is a man out there that could be in this room right now, looks exactly like me, that could be my birth father, I wouldn't know. Never met him before. I was too big of a liability. I wasn't good enough. Those were the thoughts in the back of my head. Now I know that's not true. I have a loving family, I have 2 parents that love me to death. I got a little sister that's their biological daughter. And we're a family, right? We talk to each other all the time. But when I was out on my own in college, I started to feel isolated. I forgot that sense of purpose. I forgot that why. I wasn't locked in because I was afraid of not being good enough. And as we approached this whole NFL dream and getting into that draft scenario and making all those dreams come true, my pride wasn't ready for it. My ego was saying, what if I just self-sabotage here a little bit? What if I don't do all the right things? Well, then I have a couple built-in excuses, right? So if I don't go all in, if I don't dive in, if I don't do everything I possibly can to make it to the NFL, when it doesn't happen, it's not gonna hurt as much. When it doesn't happen, I can point to, well, my diet, coach, playing time. That would feel better than going all in, doing the work, sacrificing every single thing you got. If you still fall short after all that, that hurts. That's ego. That's pride protecting yourself. I had an FCA director at college reach out to me, sat me down, as I'm going through this, I'm battling these thoughts of my dreams and my nightmares, my goals, my opportunities with all this failure. He sat me down. He said, Alec, if coach puts you in to start the very next week, will you be ready for it? Like, honestly, honest reflection. Yeah, I think so. And he held up a mirror. He's like, tell yourself that. I said, yeah, I think I'd be ready. And as I looked myself in the eyes, I knew I wasn't ready. I wasn't fully being the best version of myself. I was afraid of that mirror. I was afraid of the man I was looking back at. Because my entire life, I grew up 22 years at that point with no visual representation of what I was supposed to be 30 years from now. I didn't have that visual representation of, man, this is what you're gonna go do. This is what you're good at. This is how you lead. This is how you listen. I didn't have that visual representation to look at as a father. I always thought that was a curse, but now I see it as the biggest blessing. Because this next step I take, that's blazing your trail. The family that you're seeing around here, I can reach out to somebody that doesn't look like me, doesn't talk like me, but we can become family. Because if you see my dad, he's about this tall, short little white guy from Green Bay, Wisconsin, a college wrestler, look nothing like him. But we're tight like no other. So I had this FCA director, he does this mirror situation, which scared the shit out of me. I'm sitting there and I start to understand, okay, this is the value of honest reflection. Look myself in the mirror. Be willing to sacrifice all of that fear and look at yourself in the eyes and commit to something you're willing to do for you, for your family, for your communities, for your teams, and get after it. And after that call, or after that meeting, he said, I love you. I never had that before. We only had a few meetings, and he wasn't saying it in any malice way. He was just saying it like, man, I care about you. I don't care what happens in your future. I don't care if you make a big contract or be a Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee or go speak to a bunch of people, make this impact, be in the NFL. I don't care, man. I love you for you. I'm here for you, win, lose, or draw. And in that moment, it brought me back to that why. Brought me back to the people I love. Brought me back to that community. Drew a sense of purpose. I'm so glad we had that conversation because about 3 weeks later, we're playing Indiana. Starter goes down. I score 3 touchdowns in one game as a fullback. Crazy. Very next week, he's still on the shelf. We go out to Illinois, I score another 2. Score 5 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Now the starter comes back. We end up going 13-1 and win the Orange Bowl. But if I didn't have that conversation and somebody vulnerable enough to reach me where I was at, to understand why I was hurting, and to be able to teach me and love me and care for me with no ulterior motives, with no other intentions, probably wouldn't be here right now.